Hi, everybody. This is Shelly Defcoat. I'm so glad you are here. Hi there. As you're joining, if you could just let me know where you're joining from. Thank you for joining. This is our first Slice of Pie session, so I'm glad to have you here. And I can't see the names of the folks in the chat, so just bear with me. Thank you for joining. So this is our first ever Slice of Pie. My name is Shelly Jeffcoat, and I am the CEO of a company called LCM Group, which stands for Learn Coach Model Group. Website learncoachmodelgroup.com. I'm really excited for you to join. What I want to do today is to just, hello. What I want to do today is just spend a little bit of time talking to you guys about what Slice of Pie is. And obviously, we want to make this very, engaging and have some interaction. Again, I'm just really happy that you all are here with me. So first of all, Slice of Pie. Pie stands for proud, inspired, and empowered. It is the brand that I own. What's your pie is another way of trying to change the conversation from what's your why to what's your pie. And the reason that this was, I kind of built this company is because I wanted to come up with a way to change some of the messaging and the language that, especially around teens. I don't know, for you guys who are parents on here, but as a mom, I wanted to come up with the, talking about and talking to my daughter in a more positive way. So What's My Pie was kind of born out of a need to change the conversation and trying to find really positive ways. So what are you proud of? What are you inspired by? And what are you empowered to do? So we have a lot of books and resources that kind of support that. But Slice of Pie and what I'm calling Tipsy Tuesdays, we're going to have sessions on Tuesdays, which are geared more to the adults. And then on Thursdays, we're going to have kind of a check-in for our teens. And we're just going to start really simple with just checking in to see how folks are doing. How was your work day? Some of the things that we're going to talk about over the coming weeks include, how to market yourselves differently, how to live more intentionally, just, trying to come up with different ways to kind of share some of what I'm working on and, hear from you guys and see what's inspiring you and what kind of changes you're making in your professional and even your personal life. So I'm really looking forward to having these conversations and getting to know more about what you guys are doing. So just as a preview on some of the things that we're going to cover in June, we're going to talk about being intentional. So that means, what are some of the things that you're working on and how are you being more intentional? And what are some of the tips and tools that, we can share to help us all be intentional with what we're doing. And then another thing we'll cover is we'll talk a little bit about personal brand, but I'm going to do a different twist on it because as you guys know, personal brand is everywhere. So I'm calling it Personal Brand Take 2, where I'm just going to share some of the easy tips and tricks that you can use and really why you need to do this. So whether you're an entrepreneur or you've been in the business world for a long time, or honestly, even if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're looking to rebrand yourself, for some of the things that you're doing with your family, all of those things kind of work together. So I'm going to bring some of that information to you as well. And then setting expectations, I don't know how many of you guys are having some of these challenges too, is trying to make sure that we're setting expectations with the people that, who are in our family or in our work family, et cetera. So we'll talk about that. And then I'm definitely going to be having some guests come on and, share some of those conversations. So really looking to having some fully charged conversations and just checking in. So if you're just joining, let me know where you're joining from. And how was your day? Just tell me how your day was. I'd love to hear from you and then see where we can go from there. So I see we got a couple of folks in the room. Just drop it in the chat if I can't see all the names. So just drop in the room and tell me, how was your day and how is it going? I'm going to tell you a little story while you're doing that. So this was how my day was. It was actually pretty good. I was trying to prepare myself for this, in my day job. Presenting to large groups is really, it comes very easy to me. I'm never stressed about it. I'm usually very prepared, and I'll just kind of go in and I kind of go off the rant, no problem, right? But preparing for this live was so difficult for me. So I'd love to hear from you guys if you have those kinds of angst or presentation skills, or those things. Do you have any of those angst or worries or concern? Why is it that we can do some things without even a thought? So without any thought, I can present at work, but after work, it is a total different story. So I want to know if anybody else is going through this. So this is an after work chat. For those of you who are just joining, hello, Philly. Hi, Lucy. Hello, Duluth. My day very productive. Drop in the chat and tell me how your day went. What are some of the things that you ran into today? Today being Tipsy Tuesday also means that you can bring a cocktail if you need to. This is an open session, and we just kind of cover different topics. Again, for those of you who are coming on a little bit later, the way that we're going to do this is each week I'll have a different topic. This week, as this is just kind of the launch, is just to help you guys understand what P.I.E actually means and what's the intention behind some of these Facebook Lives. But always want to make sure that we're just having conversations. In the future, I'll have some guests. If any of you are interested in joining our panel and coming on and talking about some of the cool things you're doing, whether you're an entrepreneur, professional, or mom, we'd love to have you guys. And that's also open for our team conversations. So as I was sharing, is some of the angst of, switching from, some of the things that I'm stronger in at work, and then after work, trying to figure out, when you're trying to run your own thing, why is it so complicated? Why is that? Why do the nerves kick in? So I wanted to share you guys, kind of the backstory. I get this question a lot. I think it's when it's your passion, it's your baby. Yes, that is it. This is my passion. I'm introducing my baby to the world. And yeah, it is painstaking to do that. So the story behind LCM Group is it was something that was born out of a response to what I was seeing with my daughter. My daughter is 13. Again, you'll get to meet her on Teen Thursday. And last year, I think a lot of us went through this with COVID. And at least for me personally, there were a lot of things that shifted in 2020, not just COVID, but all the social unrest that we went through. And the teens, especially the teens in my daughter's circle, were all kind of suffering, and they felt really displaced. There was a lot of depression, and if I'm honest, there was a lot of conversation that was just so negative about. Many of us, at least many people who look like me, were very afraid, quite frankly, to even go outside because we didn't know if we were going to make it. So it was a really tough time. And I'm not talking just COVID. So it was a tough time for grownups, but it was a tough time for our kids, right? So for those of you who are moms, aunts, cousins, some of us have lost people along the way. Drop it in the chat and tell us how the last 2 years have been for you guys. I can tell you on this end, just listening to the way my daughter was talking about herself, it was very hard. So I wanted to really come up with a way to help shape that language. And it just felt like the right time to do something really positive. There's a lot of negative stuff on social media. And, I wanted to give her and her friends the tools. So we have books and things of that nature to kind of help them refrain, being really proud of who we are, being inspired about what we do, and really being empowered in kind of making things happen. That's where P.I.E was born. And so so we've been very blessed in kind of moving P.I.E forward. And now what we're trying to do is to build out the community, and obviously having you guys engaged and talking about some of what you're doing and what how your day is going, and just kind of checking in with everybody. That's the intention behind behind our Facebook Lives. So so as I'm reading, kind of reading through the chat and just checking in, let me know what's on your mind. Want to make sure that we're making this productive for you guys as well. So there's a note in the, why was your day productive? So I'm just reading out, and again, I can't see your name. So mine's the fear of the unknown. It's easy to align yourself with your job vision. Yes, it takes faith and to trust the process with your own vision. That is so true. I've got to tell you, when it is your own vision, do you find that you are second guessing some of the time? Because, when you launch something, you have to do more than have passion behind it. It's very different, right? And as we're talking about faith and trusting the process, the way that I help other people make money, and now shifting to the way that I help myself and my family make money, it definitely changes the game a lot. Some people are built for entrepreneurship and some people are not. And I can tell you that as someone who is kind of straddling both fences, it is very difficult. But when you're aligning your vision and you're creating something out of that, and having it become a successful business, then yeah, it is kind of a daunting process. It's not just that simple. I would say though that you can't let fear stop you from doing it. If this is your thing, right, you got to lean into it and make it happen. Don't let fear stop you from reaching your ultimate goal at all. All right. Thank you for that. All right. Thank you for that. So, so like I said, I just wanted to come on here and just, quickly introduce myself and, hear from you guys what you want to hear about. Obviously, want to get to know you, find out if you have questions around marketing or branding or anything like that. Those are some of the things that I definitely want to touch on, because those are also some of my strong points. And if you go to our website, you'll also see that we have some other services that we have available. So for you guys who are budding entrepreneurs, or maybe you've been in the corporate world for a while and you're just trying to pick up some additional skills, you can definitely do that. Can we talk about the workbook? Yes, we can. So there are actually 6 books. The first book that was launched is called The Learn Coach Model. It's a workbook. And this workbook is, at the very beginning, it kind of touches on helping you understand what your values are. So when people are talking about, personal branding, your personal brand reflects your values. And what does that mean? It means that if you're someone who says that they have strong integrity, these are the values that you're laying out: integrity, credible, honest, knowledgeable, things of that nature. Then before you can create a personal brand, your personal brand ends up being the reflection of your reputation. And how do you align back to that? You have to actually understand what your values are. So the first workbook that we launched, called Learn Coach Model, is to help you do that, is to help you understand and identify what your values are. And then, once you've defined them, and we kind of help you work through with various exercises, once you've defined what those values are, then you can build the brand around it to support it. And then the book also has a journal attached to that, which is called the P.I.E journal. And that journal is basically walking you through 52 weeks where you're recording what you're proud of, what you're inspired by, and what you're empowered to do. The reason why we wanted to add the journal, the P.I.E journal, is because you have to be able to change the way that you're thinking about who you are and what you have to offer. So, for example, it really doesn't matter what job you're in. It really doesn't matter your role, whether you're a parent or not. None of those things matter if you're not bolstering it with some kind of positive thinking about yourself. You're not going to be able to maneuver some of the some of the days that you even have. I don't know about you guys, but there are days when it is so hard to just get through the moment or after the moment, right? But for me, the things that don't change are the fact that I'm proud of myself and I'm inspired by, maybe I'm inspired that day for just making it through the day. Sometimes that's what it is. And I'm empowered by some of the things that I've learned along the way. So the P.I.E journal is just a way for you to change the way that you're thinking and thinking more positively. And it's more than just being grateful or just gratitude. It's really grounding it so that I can literally say. So if you see on my wall behind me, one of the questions that I get a lot when I'm on leadership calls or events or things like that, I always get questions about what's on my wall. So that's something else we'll talk about in the future about branding. And then what does it mean, and what am I proud of? What's my P.I.E? So I can tell you, and you can probably pick up from my wall, that I am proud of my family, because you can probably see pictures of my family. I'm inspired by beauty. You can probably tell by one of the artworks that's up here. And I'm empowered by education. I'm literally, I'm a nerd, and I'm kind of swallowed by, the posters that you're seeing behind me, right? So that's my P.I.E for the most part. But there are days when I need to, or weeks where I'll just, sit down and really think about other things that I'm proud of. I'm proud of, my daughter and her overcoming a lot of things. I'm inspired by my sister. I'm empowered by my friends. All of those are messages that I have to kind of drill into my own self to make sure that I'm feeding my own brain. I'm pouring into myself just as much as I'm pouring into others. So that essentially is the first workbook, the Learn, Coach, Model workbook. It allows you to, again, figure out what those values are. And then it comes with a journal. So it helps you kind of keep track. And it is amazing when you think about what your P.I.E. So P.I.E, the question there is, what's my P.I.E? P.I.E is proud, inspired, empowered. So it's another way of changing what's your why to what's my P.I.E. That's the easiest way to talk about that. It's another way for you to change the way that you think, because the way that you think impacts the way that you speak about yourself, right? So what you think ends up becoming your speech. In your speech, you put that into action. Those action become your results. So that's kind of the way that we think about how you put P.I.E into action. And then outside of that, we have other books. We have P.I.E for parents, which is a lot more humorous because I think I'm funny at times. I have P.I.E for professionals, which are affirmations. So they're really small books. It's a easy resource. You can drop it in I used to have a pocketbook, or I don't know if we have purses now, whatever, but you can drop them in your bag, and it's just really easy resources that you can turn to for something that's just positive and reassuring. And then we also have a P.I.E that's prayers. So it's 31 days of prayers. It has that for me has really blessed me personally. There are prayers that I use. So I am a woman of faith, and that's just something I lean on a lot. So, that has been really helpful for me, and I hope that it'll be helpful for you. And then we also have another P.I.E journal. But again, a lot of resources that, that we have on the site. We also have P.I.E and mental health. So again, this is where it's, me leaning into trying to support especially our teens, providing additional resources for teens who are going through some things, right? So we want to make sure that we are supporting our kids. I don't know, again, how many of you guys have had to really, lean into and being more present in our kids' lives, especially over the last couple of years with COVID, just being very mindful of our own wellness. As adults, really taking more of a proactive approach to our own mental health. There's some things that I'm going to allow in my spirit, and some things that I just won't. Some things that I allow to happen in 2019 that ain't going to happen in 2022, right? Again, drop it in chat. I don't know about you guys, but the person that was, taking a lot of hits in 2019 is gone. Okay. So 2019 being a very different year. And so all of that is, around what we're trying to do with P.I.E. All right, I'm just checking. Yeah, so questions in the room. Yeah, fear will have you second guessing and losing sight of your goal. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Also, letting in the noise. Got to be careful who you are allowing to pour into you, and yeah, pocketbook is. I'm over 50, so so I still say pocketbook. My bad. So if anybody's on here from Philly, we sported pocketbooks back in the 80s. All right, it is what it is. But yeah, fear will have you second guessing, and we don't have time for that. Life's too short. Life's too short. You still say yeah. I say pocketbook. I say purse. I'm all of that. I'm all of that. So yeah, so that's so like I said, I wanted to come on and just talk to you guys about what we're trying to do with our company here. We definitely want to build a P.I.E community. As I'm thinking about some of the things that we want to cover in the future, I definitely want to hear from moms about how are you guys having conversations with your teens, if you're aunts, uncles, whatever. Just what kind of conversations are you guys having? Maybe share some of that with us, especially for kids in our communities who are dealing with so much anyway. How can we best support them? These sessions are going to be so every Tuesday and Thursdays. Tuesday, I've been calling it Tipsy Tuesday because it's when the grown-ups talk. You're welcome to bring a cocktail and hang out with us. And as I said, I'll probably have guests come on because nobody wants to hear me joining on this long by myself. So I'll have guests come on in future live sessions, and then Thursday is when we'll have my daughter is actually coming on and talking more about teens. So if you got kids that you want to come on and listen, if they'll listen more to another teen, but she's just going to share some of the things that are happening in her space, and share some encouragement. And quite frankly, we take the encouragement too. So please make sure that you're watching out for those live sessions. And again, we just want to build a community and having encouraging, insightful, fun, light conversations. I want to hear from you guys. I am putting myself out there. This is kind of a new thing for me, but I'm really excited. I think that we do have a good opportunity to change and shape the way that we are thinking about ourselves, and the way that we are teaching our kids to even think and speak about themselves. And I'm really looking forward to kind of the journey that we're on. Again, as a mom, I'm looking and begging for these resources. I don't know how many of you guys on here are parents, but I'm going to tell you, last week the events in Texas really, it shook me again. We host something called P.I.E for Teens. We pray for teens on Thursdays, and this is one of those things that was placed on my heart a while back, and so I started it, and I just decided, if it's gonna be just me, that's all right, but I'd love for other people to join. But every Thursday we pray for kids, we pray for teens. And when that incident happened, I'm trying not to go into too much detail so I don't end up bawling, y'all. When that incident happened, there was a part of me that was just absolutely, obviously heartbroken for the parents. There was a part of me that was so I was inspired because of the outpouring of support that other parents had. I mean, I actually heard more from parents that day than I had in a long time, which is not a good testament of where we are, right? I mean, we shouldn't wait until something that terrible happened to reach out and check on each other. Check on your strong friends, by the way, and I happen to be one of them. So I asked, praying for teens on Thursdays. You just never know who needs help. So I pray for everybody. So I had folks asking me, how do you pray for for teens? And I was saying, and I dropped a post, and again, this was my first time dropping a video because again, this wasn't my thing, but dropped a post that said, listen, this is how I pray for my kid. I pray for your kid the same way I pray for my kid, the same way, right? So it's out of love. So We need to be able to do that as a community. If you're in Starbucks and you see a kid sitting by themselves, say hi, right? I mean, we're so detached now. So, looking for ways to connect with people differently. We're on Facebook, and I'm telling you, folks have all kinds of lives on Facebook, and then you meet them in person, and there's nothing like that. So we have to break some of the things that we have changed. We're training our kids to react in a certain way and living up to these expectations that are unrealistic, right? So even with that, as I think about Pi, I have conversations with my daughter. I have conversations with my daughter, and again, there's moms, drop this in the room if you're like this, where you ask your kid how was school and you don't get anything out of them, right? You get a response that says it was good and that was it. So what Pi has allowed us to do is to dig a little bit deeper into those conversations. So now I say, tell me what you're proud of. Tell me what inspired you today, and tell me what empowered you today. And it changes the conversation because now we're having them really think about something else other than, a quick, short answer. It gives you something to talk about. But man, for those of you who are with us on those Thursday prayer, and again, it doesn't matter where you're praying from. Quite frankly, I don't care what religion you are. If you're just praying and pouring out whatever your thing is, pouring out good vibes and pouring out good intentions, whatever that is. But anything that you can do to help our kids, we absolutely are called and expected to do that. So I hope that we're all doing that. So there's a situation that says these situations are even more the reason that we need to open the conversations to help children and adults find positives. This is really true. So again, as parents, I don't know how many of you guys have had the conversation with your kid to just check in and see, look, y'all, they know what happened. And I'm going to tell you, I was a little bit uncomfortable asking my daughter if she knew what happened. And I'm going to tell you why. Is because I knew I wasn't prepared for the response. I honestly wasn't. There was also part of me, if I'm honest, that I was ready for school to shut down because I was so mentally drained. And if I'm mentally drained and I'm an adult, what does it look like for our kids, right? So, some of these things that we do now in the way that we change the conversation to help our kids and even help ourselves, that's the intention behind our company. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a community that kind of changes the way that we think and speak about ourselves. And then we can go off and lead our better and best lives. All right. So I'm just checking the room. Oh, thank you. I'm not sure who the Facebook user is that says, I'm so proud of you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I think that's all I had. Yes, thank you. This is why I like the way the workbook and the other books are written. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, and they're very easy to use. They're created so that it's easy for use for kids or adults. They're set up that way. They're supposed to be very simple and easy for you to use. So absolutely really proud of it. We have a lot more coming. This is the second month. This company was launched April 1st, and we are just coming up on our 2-month anniversary, right? So April and May. And I'm telling you, it has been an amazing journey so far. And I hope that you guys will stay on this ride with us. Obviously, anything we can do to support. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're supporting the communities that we live in. We want to make sure that eventually we can have, just a much more positive influence in the lives of the people that we serve. Every one of you guys, I pray for one customer the same way I pray for 100 customers, right? So I'm very grateful for all of the support that we're getting, and we're really hoping to make a difference. So I just want to make sure that, oh yes, can you book? Yes, you can book for corporate organization. I do present to schools, churches, corporations, and the presentations will vary. I have actually something called Conversations to Greatness, which is a one-on-one coaching session that I offered for a women's empowerment group or development group here in Georgia. So we have the ability to do those kinds of presentation. We talk about marketing or branding or one-on-one coaching sessions. And I will have some course curriculums that are going to launch later this summer that covers things around more corporate goals around how you build a corporate culture, and how do you manage your own brand. So if you think about your personal brand, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you got an employee of 1 or you got an employee of 10,000, we can kind of help you with that. So yeah, so definitely on the website on lcmgroup.com, learncoachmodelgroup.com, you'll be able to find out more about booking and things like that. So this is Slice of Pie. We're at about 30 minutes. I'm going to wrap this here. I hope to see you guys. We're going to do this twice a week. This was the first session ever. So yay. Thanks for coming out and joining us. And, definitely want to hear from you guys. I am looking for panelists. I don't want to just talk to myself for 30 minutes. Y'all don't make me do that. But we are looking for entrepreneurs or, folks who are in business who can offer some encouragement, who can offer some resources, anything that you can share back to a broader communication. Make sure you bring your wine, your cocktail for our guests who are joining on Tipsy Tuesdays. Bring your cocktails and have fun with us. And we want to hear from you guys. So that's it. That's all we got for today's live. We'll be back on Thursday for Teen Thursday. So please set your reminder and we'll see you back then. Thank you guys for having me and have a great night.